how you spend your first 100 days of intermittent fasting can be the difference between losing 70 pounds in 6 months and feeling energized, or not losing any weight and feeling really low energy and crummy in the process. There are patterns that I've seen for those who are successful with intermittent fasting versus those who are not. So today I'm sharing what I've seen those first 100 days of intermittent fasting looks like for those who are successful with it, so that you can feel great and achieve your weight loss and wellness goals. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition and human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Element. More on them in a bit. Now, the very first day that you decide you're going to start intermittent fasting, you shouldn't actually even be starting to intermittent fast. Because here's the thing, there's a lot of different types of fasting schedules out there. It can all feel really overwhelming and confusing, and you need to make sure that you're picking a schedule that actually works for what the goals are that you're looking for. So on this first day, it should be your exploration day, learning why you might want to do one fast over another, benefits of each one, and the downsides. I did create a free intermittent fasting schedule quiz that can help you determine which intermittent fasting schedule will be best for your goals. So if you want to help jumpstart this process, I'll have that link down description below. Okay, now days 2 through 8, I still don't actually recommend that you jump straight into intermittent fasting. This is where I recommend that you go through a period of detox first. Now, it's not necessary. You absolutely can jump straight into intermittent fasting, but I found those that go through this step of detox first find that their transition to intermittent fasting is so much easier, and that they can actually start seeing results during that first detox week too. If you did jump straight into intermittent fasting without this period of detox, I've seen it too commonly that people feel really crummy, really low energy, really hungry, and maybe not even see results during that first week of intermittent fasting. This is because the body needs to adjust a lot. It needs to be switching over to using fat as fuel, and it also needs to be getting used to not eating for multiple hours at a time. And if that detox week isn't addressed, the body's having to figure out all of this all at once. So getting rid of the foods that the liver really has to focus on breaking down, like the processed grains and refined sugars, is a good tool during days 2 through 8. This is why I often recommend that people follow the 7-day detox, which is included for free in the complete intermittent fasting bundle, before they start intermittent fasting. Okay, now we get into days 9 through 30. So here's where you take what you figured out with what your goal intermittent fast is. Like, let's say your goal is to fast for 16 hours and eat for 8 hours. Keep that in mind, but we're still going to ease into it. Now, one sidebar, if you are taking any medications, really important to make sure that you let your doctor know on what your new eating schedule is going to be. There are a lot of medications that need to be taken at certain times or certain distances from food. So you want to make sure that you know if your medications need to be adjusted in any way. Now, if your goal is 16 hours, I actually recommend starting off with 12 hours of fasting. And then every few days, you can increase it by 30 minutes or so until you reach your goal of 16 hours. This makes the transition a lot less jarring, and it's easier to figure out how your intermittent fast will actually fit realistically into your day. Now, there's a few things to look out for during days 9 through 30. First is headaches. This is really common with intermittent fasting, especially as a beginner, because the insulin level starts to dip down from just not eating as frequently. And as a result, the body loses a lot of water and a lot of sodium. So to help counter this, you want to make sure you're hydrated, and you want to make sure that you're also getting an electrolyte replacement. But before we go on, I want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Element. Element is an electrolyte company that was created with fasting in mind. It contains the sodium, the magnesium, and the potassium to help balance out electrolyte levels. And they do all of this without having any sugar. I love using the unflavored Element after my morning fasted workout to help replace the lost electrolytes from not only the fast, but also the workout. And I found this helps prevent the muscle aches and the headaches that often come from electrolyte imbalance. Element is also really easy to use. You just tear open the package, dump it in your water, you give it a shake, and you're ready to go. And right now, Element is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single-serve packets free with any Element order. It's a really great way to test out all 8 flavors, so you can get yours at drinkelement.com/autumn. This is only available through my link, so make sure to check out drinklmnt.com/autumn. The next is hunger. This is where it is crucial to be focusing on what you're actually eating during your eating window. If you don't, you're going to be hungry, and you might not even see the results that you want with intermittent fasting. Keto coffee is one tool that you can use during your fasting window if you find that you are getting hungry. It's a great tool, especially if you're a beginner, because it does provide some fat to help boost satiety, help prevent hunger, but it doesn't cause an insulin spike, so you still get your body used to using fat as fuel. And especially on days 9 through 30, it is so important for you to get educated educated on the process of intermittent fasting, the benefits, what's actually happening within your body. It doesn't have to be an overwhelming education process, but getting some level of education and understanding of what's happening will go miles with your journey going forward. The complete intermittent fasting bundle goes into this step by step in complete detail. I also have hundreds of free resources on my blog and on my YouTube channel. During days 9 through 30, this is where the body is really starting to learn how to use fat as fuel, ramping up the gut healing process called the migrating motor complex, and as a result, helping to de-bloat. Okay, so now we enter days 31 through 52. So at this point, you've got adjusted to using intermittent fasting. You're feeling pretty good and confident. You've worked up to whatever goal fast you have. Now we add in the next level of exercise. Now let's be clear, you don't need to be Arnold, but if you are looking for body recomposition perks, which is where you're losing body fat while maintaining or increasing muscle mass, adding exercise at this point can really help to accelerate this process. But you don't want to be doing this before the other steps. There's a really purposeful reason why I'm laying it out in this way. If you add structured exercise before your body is able to really use fat as fuel, you are going to be very hungry and very likely you're going to be extremely low in energy, which ultimately will make it hard to continue on with both intermittent fasting and exercise. But by adding in intermittent fasting first, now the body's gotten a lot better at using fat as fuel, and it makes adding exercise a lot easier. This doesn't have to be like hitting the squat rack, although it absolutely can be. Instead, it can be as simple as body weight training, doing push-ups, air squats, maybe adding in some light weights. The goal is just make sure that we're challenging the muscles in some way. But just like with the fast, you will want to ease into it. So if your goal is to eventually get to the squat rack, start with body weight exercises, slowly increase your weights that you're using, or even just start with walking. Walking is something that can be done during that first phase of intermittent fasting, but if you haven't added it in already, now's a good time. In fact, Kristen saw how influential adding in exercises were for her intermittent fasting journey. In fact, I've interviewed Kristen on her experience with this exact step in the past, so if you want more details on that, I'll have her interview linked down description below. Okay, now we reach days 58 through 81, and this is where you can start adding in the next level strategies. Perhaps you're carb sensitive and you need to focus more specifically on weight loss, or maybe you have an issue with bloating and you really want to emphasize gut health. Now that you've gotten down the basics, now is a great time to layer in those more specific tools for your specific goal. But again, if you start with this step first, you're not going to see the benefit. Think of those first 50 days as building the foundation and the walls of a house, and now we're adding in the interior design. Now, although I say days 53 through 81, this whole process can actually be over a lifetime, because even our specific wellness goals can change over a life. For example, let's say you were focused on gut health, but you've managed to help your gut heal, and now you want to run your first half marathon. The tools that you use from when you're focused on gut health are going to be different than when you're focused on the half marathon. Okay, now we have days 81 and forward. Now, these are the days that you're focused on preventing food fatigue. I don't care if you're someone that says you like to eat the same thing every single day. I have a lot of clients who've said that to me in the past, and then 30 days later come back and are like, I need something different to eat. Eventually, you're going to get tired of the food that you're eating, and if you aren't loving it, you're not going to eat it. And it's very easy to go back to those types of foods that were not supportive of your goals in the first place. As Corolla and other AM peeps who have seen success in the past have noted, you need to love your food. And that's why those first days of learning the principles of what you need to eat within your eating window, what constitutes meals that will support your goals, will help with this phase and beyond. Because if you have an understanding of the protein, fat, and fiber concept, it makes it so easy to take pretty much any meal, any recipe, or any restaurant and turn it into something that supports your goals. And if you have this base understanding down, then this step, these days and beyond, will be so easy. I can't stress how important this step alone is for long-term success, but it is one of the biggest barriers if you've gotten to this point where you've achieved so much, but then if you get tired of your food, it's so easy to go back to the beginning. So if you want those step-by-step details of how you can use intermittent fasting, your eating window, exercise, and the specific level up guide protocols, make sure you check out the complete intermittent fasting bundle. I'll have it linked down in the description below. But if you're curious on how long intermittent fasting should really take to actually start seeing results, make sure you check out this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.